I was just with a bunch of very progressive people for just a few days, and they had regressed, if I'm being honest, from where they were in December of last year. December of last year, they were like, okay, we need to read the Wall Street Journal and look at Fox News because of this tremendous, slap in the face of reality that was the November elections and the reelection of Trump. And they're like, well, maybe we, and when the media, went 180 on Biden. Now they're all back to just Trump is a fascist and
Oh, Lord.
we're the good ones, and so I'm not so sure that I think that the other thing I was going
But
to
is
say
that
about in terms
wokeism
of
or is that just denialism? Like the race obsession, some leftists are always going to have it. The trans obsession, same. But I just feel like they are so disempowered in 2025 versus where they were in 2021.
no, no doubt about it. I mean, no doubt about it. So yeah, it's sort of both things are true, right? I mean, wokeism is definitely on the decline, and it's all they have, Megan.
Yeah.
It's like that. That's like what else do they have? I mean, the trans one in particular. I mean, it's nationwide. It's only 30% at this point, or 29% according to the New York Times support the awful trans medical atrocities, and only 21% support the sports. And those numbers are going to go down. I think we all do. The race one has persisted. And you see it in the Des Moines School Board. I hope it's a wake up call, but it's just I think the dynamic we could talk about for hours about what is the left and where is the left going and what does it need to do. I mean, my view when I saw those troops in Portland, and I think he's going to do it with is it Memphis, another city,
And
or
he's starting
Chicago
in
certainly.
Chicago.
Yeah. I just think the president needs to deliver. He needs to deliver for people in really concrete ways. It's not just show business. It's like he needs to move legislation through Congress. They need to ban the trans medical atrocity. I mean, you've been
Yes.
so amazing on this issue for much longer than I have. That needs to be banned. There's legislation ready to go in Congress. We need mental illness legislation. We need and crime to deal with this. Just think of the guy that killed that Ukrainian woman in North Carolina. That's all you need to think about. I mean, that Charlotte killing is the picture of the problem. It's an extreme manifestation of it, but it's massively untreated mental illness. We're in the midst of a massive psychiatric disorder. We have a kind of our civilization is creating psychiatric disorders, from gender identity dysphoria to sort of to the kind of the psychopathologies that lead you to want to kill your political opponents. Megan, 34% of college students now say it's okay to use violence to stop a campus speaker. That's
Oh, my
pathological.
Lord.
It was up from less than 20% in 2020. That's pathological. That's like an emergent. That's like a civilizational emergency. I'd love to see the president and the White House and the administration rise to the occasion with legislation that I think. I mean, if you're thinking about it in a political way, make the Democrats be against that legislation. That's the whole
Hmm.
advantage of it. People might go, oh, I don't know if it can pass. Okay, if the Democrats kill legislation to deal with mental illness, crime, I mean, if they need some more help on migration, they can go get that. Put forward this positive agenda because we're not. I just don't think people buy that those ICE raids are sending some military out to kind of protect the ICE. I don't think Americans think that's a solution. I don't think they're going to think it's going to deliver for them, and it isn't going to deliver. It's not
What?
actually addressing the underlying problem. And
Well, what's your
the Trump
thought about
administration
that?
has to
What's
deliver
your
for the
thought about
people.
the underlying problem? Because when I look at the rash of shootings that we've had, and there's a different motivation behind each one. There's no question that there's an increasing trend that trans or trans-identified people are committing mass shootings, or motivated at least in part by that. The assassination of Charlie Kirk appears to be the entire motivation. I'm not sure what led to that number of young people on college campuses, 34% thinking that it's okay. It might be okay to use violence to stop somebody from coming on campus. Like, if you ask a
You
different
do
person,
know.
you'll get a different answer. Alex Berenson
Yeah.
will tell you pot has got a lot to do with it. Like, today's pot is seriously, deeply dangerous, and it's being abused. The trans thing is obviously an ongoing theme we've seen in place after place. Some people now focusing in on video games and platforms like Discord in the wake of the news that Charlie's assassin was obsessed with that. And so was, I think, the guy who committed the Ascension murders in Minneapolis of the children in the school church. So, I mean, to me, I feel like the murder of Brian Thompson, the United Healthcare CEO by Luigi Mangione was a before and after moment. Like that, when people didn't condemn it, when it was openly celebrated in the street, when people immediately wanted to have a conversation about, well, insurance companies are bad. At least that was the first moment I realized we were very different than we had been 15 years earlier.
I mean, the response to Charlie Kirk's assassination, we shouldn't forget about it. And in fact, we should think about it more, because it wasn't just the blue-haired, left-wing radicals in Boulder and Berkeley. It was in Brooklyn. It was, ordinary normie Democrats and liberals who were celebrating the murder of somebody who said things that hurt their feelings. I think you were saying, what is that? I mean, we have a system that's creating psychiatric disorders. I mean, what is that system? I mean, obviously social media is playing a role. Tyler Robinson, the main suspect, almost certain shooter of Charlie Kirk. I mean, he appears to have fallen down a kind of rabbit hole of very weird forms of porn, probably social media, just a lot of sexual confusion. I just think in another environment, he would have been just a totally normal straight guy, but he wasn't in a normal environment. Escaping, fleeing a religion, not having a moral, spiritual system to anchor to.
Yep.
It's a crisis. I mean, when you kind of go, a desire to murder somebody who you disagree with, the fantasy of wanting to murder somebody you disagree with, it's disproportionately on the left. We saw that, a huge percentage of people that describe themselves as very liberal and liberal. The 34% of college students, overwhelmingly very far left. Certainly there's certain cases, obviously, where there's right-wingers that have similar fantasies, but obviously this is disproportionately, I think we calculated it was like 5 to 1 larger among left that wants to see violence against their political opponents. Megyn, it comes right out of what everybody's been talking about, which is that, facts don't care about your feelings. It's all this idea that your feelings are so important that if somebody's feelings are hurt because they've heard some discordant information, because they have the discomfort of cognitive dissonance and hearing a different point of view, that means that person shouldn't have to hear it. That person should be censored, or they should be killed or assaulted. I mean, that's essentially the logic. That is, we have to deprogram. We need a positive. This is why I keep coming back to the president, because I think the opportunity here, and maybe he can't do it. Maybe it's just going to take somebody else. But the opportunity here is to address the public and go, we are producing psychopathologies, and we need to deprogram people from these really bad, crazy ideas, including that all white people are responsible for all of the problems in the Black community, including the idea that you can change your gender or sex. These things are just not possible. That you can keep a country by just opening your borders. I mean, people have to be reminded of what civilization requires and what it requires to protect vulnerable people, the people that progressives say they care the most about. We need that, and I think that it needs to come in the form of a positive, concrete vision that delivers for people. So that's why I keep coming to, this really needs to come from the White House. Right now, they're just like, oh, well, now we'll have a fight with the Democrats about the shutdown. Oh, now we'll have a fight with the Democrats by sending ICE and, military there. It's not good enough. I think that they need to find another gear because the country desperately needs that.
I mean, Trump has definitely been messaging on these issues. He just does it in his own particular blunt way. He's not doing it in a way that's designed to reach out to anybody. And I don't blame him. I've got to be honest, because I don't think they're reach out to-able. I just feel like, Spencer Cox, the governor of Utah, just went on 60 Minutes last night. They took a deep dive into him because the left is loving him right now, because when he held that presser, when they announced that Tyler Robinson had been arrested, he mentioned violence against those two lawmakers in Minnesota. He mentioned what happened to Josh Shapiro's house, as though it's like the equivalent. He did the both sides thing. And so now the left is loving Spencer Cox. And I'm sorry, those are just misrepresentations. Like the guy who attacked Paul Pelosi was not right wing. He was left wing. The guy who attacked the Minnesota lawmakers said he was dispatched by Tim Walz, which of course isn't true, but he's just a lunatic. But if he was motivated by anybody, He says he was motivated by a leftist governor in Tim Walz. These were not right-wing incidents of right-wing violence, even though the targets were left-wingers. That's just, there's no point. If you just want to say left-wingers have been attacked, yes, that's true. But those were not instances of right-wing violence. They just weren't. So he's looking to have one of those kumbaya moments, and Trump is more like the fist, just like punching things and fighting, which is way more in line with where I am right now anyway. I don't know. I don't know, Michael, if we can reach out to the people, if we can bargain with these people, if we can talk somebody out of wanting to kill us. And that's what's so infuriating as we watch the left wing totally try to deny the motives in these cases, whether, they want to deny that the black man who seemed like a total nutcase and had schizophrenia and killed Irina in North Carolina said the thing about, I just got that white girl. We all know he was a nut. We get it. But he did say those words. Yeah. So where did he get that from? Why do you think that would be a bonus?
I think there's
and ignore Charlie's assassin's motives too.
Yeah. I just think there's two separate things. One is that you've got a radicalized left, and it's very problematic. When they engage in violence and they're plotting conspiracies and bombings and attacking ICE agents, that stuff should be disrupted and fought. Antifa, it's an ideology. It makes as much sense to say we're going to go after anti-fascist ideology as we're going to go after right-wing populism.
How can you say that? Because we see them parading through Portland. Like they have the signs, they have the outfits, like they seem very real.
But they don't have a bank account. They don't have a nonprofit organization.
Well, neither did ISIS, but they existed.
Yeah. Well, but then the point would be that you should crack down on illegal criminal activity, which would be, foment. But I just think that you have to kind of go, Megyn, I think you just have to kind of go, what are we doing here? Like, we should definitely be trying to de-radicalize. We should definitely, rehumanize, people who had been dehumanized and called fascists and Nazis. That's serious work that needs to be done.
They won't do it. Did you see Gavin Newsom this weekend tweeted out about Stephen Miller, President Trump's top aide? Stephen Miller is a fascist in all caps. Like, they are not willing to change the way they debate, and therefore they must be defeated, not bargained with. When inflation jumps, when you hear the national debt is over $37 trillion, do you ever think maybe now would be a good time to buy some gold? Whether as a hedge against inflation, peace of mind during global instability, or just for sensible diversification, Birch Gold Group believes every American should own physical gold. And so they created something special. Until September 30th, if you are a first-time gold buyer, Birch Gold is offering a rebate of up to $10,000 in free metals on qualifying purchases. To claim eligibility and start the process, request an info kit right now. Just text MK to the number 989898. Plus, Birch Gold can help you roll an existing IRA or 401k into one in gold, and you're still eligible for a rebate and free metals of up to $10,000. So make right now your first time to buy gold and take advantage of a rebate of up to $10,000 when you buy by September 30th. Text MK to 989898 to claim your eligibility and get your free info kit now. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.